I'm sorry.
Table back.
Can I sit between you two? Is that okay? Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. I didn't mean all of them.
Okay, do that, like lose the table.
Bring him in, bring him in.
Back of the house. Okay. Oh, you mean just some chairs? Oh, cheers.
Oh, for you. Thank you for your Thanksgiving. Oh, what's this? Do we want to make it you? So, like, made it like a U around. Now we're without the table?
Yes, let's do that. Get the other side of the legs.
I'm just sitting here drinking those kids. What's going on?
Yeah. We have parking.
We're making special arrangements just for you.
So I can have that back to the table.
Too many others. Exactly.
I mean, Joe,
Yeah.
My favorite food, yeah.
the world's most overqualified.
Speak for yourself, I think I've made a career out of it.
Francis, we're all riding this stuff.
No.
Suggestion from the audience?
Stop. Sure.
Sorry, that's the plate in my head. It's a little magnetic sometimes, but... There we go.
Sounds like a whaling ship.
It's okay, I've taken my medication today.
I'm summoning my people.
Yeah. Vikings will come running over the hill.
No. No, Matt, I've done commercials. We can help you if you have a problem.
What time is it? Is it time? Is the party time?
Yeah.
It's the party
But
time.
if you're in front of your microphone before, I'll just call it out. Or your agent, you all have a problem.
All right, that was it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
They just wanted to see us move tables
Yeah.
off and
Yeah, we've officially just met up, so that was the end, right?
So do we just introduce ourselves?
I don't know.
How are you guys doing?
Well, thank you so much for coming. I believe this is called the VA Meetup. And we have met up, so now we're going to meet all of you, and we're going to introduce ourselves to do that. Since I'm already talking, I'll start with me, though I'm not on either end, so I'm going to screw everything up as far as the order goes. Hello, I'm Mike McFarland. Thank you. As far as VA stuff goes, quick list of Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z, Havoc from Full Metal Alchemist, Jean Kirstein from Attack on Titan, and lots of cross-dressers, Ritsu from Fruits Basket, stuff like that. And I'm also Sharon Lee's bag handler at times, so there we go. We'll go this way.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that. I'll take this one. All right. My name is Robbie, and I'm brand new to anime. Robbie Davids. I've been working as a VA for about 7.5 years in Los Angeles, full time. I do a lot of traditional animation, video games, commercials, that sort of thing. But when they asked me to audition for the new Sailor Moon, I had to say yes. So I'm doing Tuxedo Mask in that now. And I'm also Sway on Breadwinners. I'm on a couple Transformers shows. I'm doing the new Rock Lee and Friends. And I'm in Final Fantasy Type 0 and some other stuff. So it's nice to meet you. Hello. Howdy, I'm Chris Ayers. Some of the stuff I've done, Frieza in Dragon Ball Z Kai, Prince Soma and Black Butler, a whole bunch of other stuff, Kid Chrono and Gantz, a lot of other stuff, so I'm gonna pass it on to not him.
Introduce your big cup.
Oh, and this is the sippy cup of doom.
My name is Jerry Jewell. It's going to take us the panel just to get through introductions. I'm a voice actor for Funimation. I've done some voices, Kiyosoma in Fruits Basket, Barry the Chopper in Full Metal Alchemist, Claire Stanfield in Bakano, Jimmy Kudo in Case Closed, Akido Hayama in Kodocha, and a bunch of things. And soon to be Momotaro Makoshiba in Free. So there.
Hey folks, I'm Vince Carrazza. A little old school Tuxedo Mask. New school. I have the gray hairs. Robbie's a lot younger than me, so. Zexion from Kingdom Hearts. Assassin's Creed, I've done a couple characters in that. Some old school shows like Alden and Braceface, if any of you guys know that. Some old stuff. And also a film and TV actor, voice of a bunch of companies and mostly commercials. And just recently finished Rocky on Broadway, which was an awesome show. Yeah. So yeah, it's great to meet all you guys. Thanks for coming out this morning.
Hey, I'm Amanda Miller, and I am also in the new Sailor Moon dub as Sailor. I'm playing Sailor Jupiter, and in Danganronpa I was Toko and Junko, Fire Emblem Sully and Shershi, or Shersh. I don't know how to say it. I don't say my own name. And yeah, other stuff. Google it. I don't know. I'm lazy.
There you go. Woo! Yeah!
Hi, my name's Greg Hauser. And after a couple of drinks, I can't say my name either, so that works out nicely. I'm known for being pretty much that poor sap that lasts about 2 seconds on screen before he dies. I think it's because I, did something to offend Mr. McFarland in a previous life, but
Previous life.
Well, it's a work in progress. Yeah, no, it's a work in progress. I've had the pleasure of being cast in Evangelion. Loved it. One Piece, Tales of Vesperia. At any con, I get a drink at the bar because I can say I've disposed of a body for Mike McFarland in Shiki. And Icky Tosin. And I'm actually from the Philadelphia region, so I'm actually down here doing a lot of commercial and industrial stuff in this region.
Hi guys, my name is Matthew Mercer. I'm a Los Angeles-based actor.
No weather! It's 73 degrees there.
Done projects like Leon Kennedy and Resident Evil, Alvin and Tales of Exilia, Rexar, Kilrog, and a bunch of characters in World of Warcraft and Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm, and Tigra and Cartoon Network's Thundercats, and was one of the few characters not made to scream horribly by this guy as Levi in Attack on Titan.
So I guess we get this mic? Oh my god. My name is Jeremy, and I'm going to tell you that before I break this mic. Yeah, so I'm a voice actor as well. I am from Dallas, but I now live in LA, but I'm in Dallas quite often. I've worked on Sword Art Online. I play Asuna. Sweet, thank you. Lucy in Fairy Tale. I also worked on Shiki a little bit, since we mentioned that one. Soul Eater, I played Patty, and then and since we've got a lot of Sailor Moon people, I voiced Sailor Venus in the new Sailor Moon. Hi. My name is Christina V. I'm also a voice actor. Thanks, guys. So special. Let's see. I voice stuff. Thank you. I'm Sailor Mars in the new dub of Sailor Moon. Noelle Vermillion in Blaze Blue. Riven in League of Legends. Nova in Tales of Exilia 2. I'm in Final Fantasy Type 0 as Sonk. And Monica Magica, Homura Kemi, K-On, Magi, which is premiering tonight. I voice Morgiana and Magi. And I also direct and cast, currently working on Skullgirls, and I just wrapped up a game for Amazon, their new gaming division. They asked me to direct one of their new titles, and so that was really fun. And I also hosted for IGN for a little bit there, and it was awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Now that's it for real. That was it.
That's all the time we got.
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I don't poke my eye out?
No, leave it then. Leave it. Do it. I'm so kidding. That was a joke about poking the eye out. And it's still here.
Okay, so this is Q&A. You have to provide Q before we can provide A.
We'll A the crap out of things.
Yeah, we will.
You with a hand.
Yeah, the battle between the old and new tuxedo mask. Who would win?
Well, no, that's easy. Look at the size of that guy's arms. Are we talking about the actual tuxedo mask or just us?
The real tuxedo mask in the show, right? Yeah. Youth always wins. Let's be honest, right?
I don't know.
I'm old and slow. I need at least 4 coffees to get going in the morning.
Yeah. But you've got the roses. The roses are...
We were talking about that yesterday.
It's true, and it's Valentine's Day. So technically. That's right. And also, I will admit that sometimes age does come with wisdom, but in my case, it doesn't.
Maybe they just walk off into the sunset holding hands together.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
Vince and I were talking yesterday about that. Like it's like Batman Beyond, where he's like the old grizzled Batman teaching the next Batman, and he's just like, I'm too old for this crap. Throwing roses.
Let me show you my moves. Hang on, I gotta light a smoke first.
Yeah, he's like wearing sweatpants.
I have a question for all the voice actors up here. Will you guys be my Valentines? I got chocolates.
Is that Is that chocolate?
Yeah, I bought bonbons. You can't have the pyramid one or the blueberry.
So,
but the rest are
so being your Valentine means that I get chocolate?
Yes.
I will be your Valentine.
Yay!
No ulterior motive.
I typically go by that rule of eating chocolate after I do voice work. So.
Do I look like I turned down candy?
We have separate times set up for that.
Separate times set up
If
for
you-
autographs. Otherwise, everyone would rush and it would stop the whole panel. I'm sorry.
Especially Chris, he stops everything.
No. Stop everything and drink my soda.
But we'll try to do that another time for you. Yes, right here, like third row. Hi. Question for Jeremy.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, what was it like working with Shane Dawson?
Shane Dawson is awesome. I assume you're referring to Not Cool. I was in Not Cool with Shane Dawson, so I was in Pittsburgh last February for a month, freezing. But he's amazing. He's a really good friend of mine. We have the same middle name, and we share the same birthday. I just got to work with him again on a short film that he did called Prom. So we got to reunite. He was in a fat suit, which you all know because you follow him on Twitter and Facebook. It was insane. But yeah, no, he's an amazing guy, a really good friend of mine, and one of the coolest people ever. So.
Who chooses the next question? There you are.
For the people that are in the new Sailor Moon, how does it feel to be voicing such iconic characters?
Amazeballs. I know for me especially because like Jupiter was my favorite character growing up. So getting to voice her now is awesome, and especially like it's literally the episodes I watched growing up. So I'm like, I remember doing this scene in my backyard. So it's very, very cool.
Rural America.
I lived in Maryland for like 10 years. I lived in like southern Maryland, so like when no. Have you ever been to like Calvert County?
So you were Sailor Cold.
Yeah, we're like, and like people said like wrestling, and they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go home. Like there's the ooh thing that they did down there. I don't know. Yeah. Yes.
We have a new. Yeah.
But yeah.
It feels pretty surreal, especially coming out to conventions and seeing all the love that we get for voicing these amazing characters. Because like Amanda, I also grew up. I can multitask. I can multitask and not die. Is that good? Are we good? I think so. So yeah.
You guys, we the reason you just saw us all shuffle around is because we have a new addition to our city circle.
Hi, I'm Greg Ayers, and I'm always late for everything. I'm actually double booked today, so I actually have to leave early from this, and I have to leave early for my autographs. But hi, I'm here.
Did you answer?
It was really exciting because like everybody said, we all watched it. It was the first anime that I knew of as anime. I thought anime existed of 3 shows, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, and Pokemon. So when I auditioned for Peach Girl, I was very confused that was not one of those 3 shows, but it sure did look like it. So yeah, then when I'm auditioning for Sailor Moon, I was so excited. Then to get cast was like such a gift, since that was the iconic show for me. So it was really, really exciting, and I felt a lot of pressure. I was very scared to record, but yeah, now it's fun and it's a good time.
And also, my mom would always say, "Hey, how's your Sailor Moons going?" Because she doesn't. That's what she calls anime, and so now I can say, "It's going fine, Mom."
I got to enjoy being a groundskeeper in an episode, and I got to be a guy who, a lot of groundskeepers, a guy who was like a caretaker of a construction site who got corrupted by a bad guy and then was like a bad older guy, and then...
Did you get to say something derogatory about kids?
Probably.
Damn kids.
So to answer your question, it was kept a lot of grounds.
I was just surprised, I guess, because I've been working and I was like, man, I would love to do some anime. And when the gentleman who owns Studiopolis, where we record, and they record a ton of other great shows, sent me an anime audition, and I saw that it was Sailor Moon. I was just like, nah. So when I booked it, it was pretty much just surprise and happiness, and I was like really excited to be a part of it. And then as I found out more about it and realized how much love there was for the show, I really just sort of felt honored, because I think if it's true, the original creator finalized all of the casting choices.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of trivia. So when I found that, I was like, that's honored. It's very nice. It's a great show to start off on, I guess.
Robbie's like, go big or go home. My first anime, Sailor Moon. That's what I mask.
The person who's doing that lady, that's waving, you're looking around,
Okay, I grew up watching Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z when I was a little kid, and I always loved it. And the abridged really kind of made DBZ really popular again. But Mike, you've seen the show, right? Like season 2?
Of Dragon Ball Z?
The abridged.
The abridged.
Oh, I haven't seen much of the abridged stuff. I've seen some.
Could you say your Russian voice?
Oh, goodness.
Speak up, I'm not wearing pants.
Yes, I can say the hell out of that one. Could you speak up? I'm not wearing pants! I can't hear things.
After this, I would like maybe everybody, like all the DBZ fans, if we could do the Kamehameha with you, that would be awesome.
We can do that.
Somebody pick.
In the back, wearing a trench coat. Looks like
Way back there.
Can't hear you.
Stand up. Loud and proud. Yeah.
But whenever I hear a lot of voice actors, they go into character and then they sing. Is that really hard? Because I can only imagine how hard it is.
I personally only think that it's difficult if you're one of the people who really thinks that you can't sing. Like there are people like, I just can't sing, and to me, like there aren't people who just flat out can't sing. That you either haven't trained enough, tried enough, or whatever. Like, you can do anything you want to do in that capacity with your voice. You really can. But if you are comfortable as a singer and you have a character voice, I think that they kind of go hand in hand, and you can just do it.
I was going to say, I did 2 shows at the same time. One was Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, where I just sang like a normal kid, and that was fine, because I just sang a rock and roll song, and it was easy. But then I was doing Nerima Daikon Brothers at the same time, and my character talks like Wolfman Jack. He's, oh my God, like that's the way he talks. So I didn't think that was gonna happen. Like I was like, I can't sing like that. And then as soon as the music started, I just started singing, and it was like Mike said, you just start singing in that voice. I will say that singing in your own voice is easier than singing in your character voice, though. I would much rather sing as a little boy than a growly voiced old guy. So.
But sometimes singing in your character voice is kind of free.
If you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on, sugar, let me know.
It's fun.
Laura, when we were working on Kadocha, did you have to do it, Jerry? She made all of us sing Pump Up the Jams in our character voice. Yeah, Laura Bailey made all of us sing Pump Up the Jams, and so it's ridiculous. And I know Sonny did it as Zenjiro, and it was funny.
I had a Marvel animated thing I did recently, and let me tell you, there's nothing quite like watching Fred Tatasciore as the Hulk sing Jingle Bells. And he did it, and it was amazing. So it depends on the character. Some characters, the texture or something's gonna be hard to sing, but he pulled that off, so anything's possible at this point.
Hulk ring bell. Make jingle.
Shammy pick. Pick someone.
Yes, in the red sweater. Yes.
What if you can't sing?
What?
What if you can't sing?
Well, at least in my opinion, in the round of auditions, and the director knows that your character sings, they might go, "Hey, can you sing?"
Yeah.
If you go like, "No," I'm like, "Well, crap." That it might come down to something like that, unless it's like, "Man, I really like your voice for this, so I will find you a stunt singer." But to me, that kind of stands out from time to time.
We just had to do that on a show. I had an actress, and on this show, everything had been on the music and effects track. So we couldn't re-record it because all the singers on the music and effects track. Until we hit one song, and so I had cast it accordingly. And all of a sudden, we have this one character that sings, and it's a Japanese, historical folk song, so it should be done in Japanese. And it's not only that, but it's an actress who doesn't sing. Well, fortunately for us, we've got a new girl at the studio who has 30 bazillion Facebook likes for her YouTube channel singing in Japanese. And she's a phenomenal mimic.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, okay, I need you to do this and sound like Shannon Emmerich. And she's like, okay. And just sings the song in Japanese. So she has bailed me out twice now. God bless you, Juliet Simmons.
Matthew Pick.
Good. Let's get some love over here. You with the hat back there. Yes.
Question was what it was like to work on the Persona 4 series as Kanji. It was awesome. A little daunting. Anytime that you take over a character that somebody's already established is a little daunting, because especially if it's a fan favorite, because then everyone's like, okay, when are you gonna mess it up? And they're all just watching and waiting. So it's very terrifying. But Kanji was a character that I already loved, and I think was just a great perspective in that story. And Choi did such a great job with the character, and me and Troy have a similar range anyway, and we've kind of covered for each other on numerous projects, so that one was kind of a smooth transition. But Kanji's a blast. He's a blast because he has so many variations in his personality. He'll go from kind of soft and offended to being completely cuted out by something to being most of the time really aggressive and defensive, which is a lot of fun too. So you get to say get bent a lot, which is fun. So it's a good time.
JPEG. You pick.
I can only see the first row. I don't have my glasses on, so you.
My question is for the Attack on Titan and Sailor Moon voice actors. I know some of you were aware of Sailor Moon, but when you got picked for your characters for the shows that are so well loved by fans, were you worried at all for your parts and afraid of fans by chance?
Well, I was the ADR director for Attack on Titan, so I did a lot of the cast selection, which of course had to be approved by, the powers that be above me and all that kind of stuff, but I had to present with I think these would be great. What do you think? And in some of those instances, being that I'm one of them, I had to do the same thing. I'm like, no, yeah. As far as the show itself, I was excited about the show. As far as what everyone else's reaction would be, I never know what that's going to be. All I can do is what I think is the best job I can do and make the best decisions I can about everything, about the content, the pronunciations, the casting, the tones of voices, the tone of the show, all that kind of stuff, and do more of an honor and a service to the original material and the animation and the creation. And then if I do that, I feel like anyone who liked those things will appreciate it and like it. But as far as additional pressure of it being so well loved, etc., I don't think so, because I don't know. I approach everything where I want it to be the best it can be, whether or not 5 people have seen it or 500 billion people have seen it. So
That's what you have to do.
yeah.
You have to.
Anyone else?
I really trust the casting process. Going through the auditioning and the callbacks, it gives me a lot of confidence that I am the right part for this. The right person for this role. So for me, that's where a lot of my confidence comes from.
I stay off the internet.
Yes.
The internet,
What's the internet?
It's a series of tubes, I think, something like that. No, because the nice thing about the Sailor Moon fans is overall they've been incredibly positive. And that, I think, is maybe something that's germane to the show itself. So, but you're never, even when you do a cartoon for little kids, there are people that are gonna hate your guts on the internet. And so, you know, to piggyback off what he was saying, you really do have to do the art the best service that you can, do the very best job that you can, trust the people that are around you, and if you do all of those things, the people that you make happy are gonna be happy, and the haters are gonna hate forever. So, yeah, I just ignore it.
With any cast announcement.
As much as they hate.
So with any cast announcement as an actor, there's like a whole bunch of excitement and just like a layer of deep dread because you know it's gonna come.
Well, I think especially because, like you said, if you're taking over a role from someone else, you're like, there is going to be, like, I imagine the worst possible scenario, and then I got to scale myself back. But I imagine, like, the first convention I go to after they've announced Sailor Moon, there's going to be a line of people ready to kill me. Just like there was with Shauna, just like anytime I've replaced someone. And I love the person who did it originally because I love the show, and that's why it's as successful as it is. So if everybody knew, like, we love them, it did so well, we want to do right by them, and then I have to go, you know what, I love it, I got trusted to do this, the director trusts me, if I start bringing fear into it and getting into my head, that is the worst thing I can do, and that is the best way to screw up my job. I gotta just let it go, love what I'm doing, trust the director, trust the rest of the cast, and do the best work I possibly can, because like they said, there is gonna be a line of people that are gonna hate you everywhere you go. They always find their way on the internet, though. It's fascinating.
We were talking about that.
They hate you really well on the internet.
Yeah,
They do.
They line you up like Princess Buttercup, and they go, boo!
But yeah, I feel like I felt the same way, especially because she was my favorite character. I'm like, if I mess her up, I can't blame anybody else. But also, I loved Susan's Jupiter growing up. Susan Roman was the original voice actress. And so the first like 4 or 5 episodes, I was terrified every time I stepped in the booth. And Stephanie Shea's like, you need to stop because you're going to get fired. I'm like, okay, I will stop. And I will just have fun. And so like having... fired. No, I don't want fired. So yeah, so like I just started having fun, and also like Shar told us that like I didn't realize that like Naoko Takeuchi, the creator of the show, actually picked like she finalized the cast. I'm like, oh well, if Naoko picked me, then
I'm okay.
I'm okay. I guess I'm cool. And then Susan also like was really nice, and she's like, I heard the new thing. I think you're great. I'm so glad. And like, and we met at SAC Anime, and she was like took me under her wing. I'm like, oh man, Susan likes me too. So
that was a big deal when they were there, and
yeah, like, and they were so cool and they're so nice.
That
and
was
they really
amazing.
like were like, here, pass the torch. Don't mess it up, but we love you.
Here's the torch.
Here's
Keep
the torch.
it safe.
Don't mess it up.
Don't put the torch out.
That's not good though. I was like, don't look for other people for affirmation. And I'm like, but I'll look to Susan and I'll look to Naoko. So that's,
You know, I was telling Jeremy this, and it ties into what you said. I work with a lot of brand new voice actors. I use a lot of new talent in my shows. So I like giving new people a chance. And I tell all of them, to a man, when they come in, don't read anything on the internet. Don't look up the show. Don't do anything. It never fails. They always do. And then they call me crying, please recast me, I'm horrible. Don't. No, because people don't realize. Jeremy put it really well. We were talking the other day, and she did to tell them about the panel and what they said.
Oh yeah. Well, I told somebody, I said I love going to conventions because it's a whole group of people that say I'm all anti-bullying, and I said I love that sentiment, but I'm fascinated that in the anime community there's a whole lot of cyberbullying. The word bully is still in it. Just because you're behind a keyboard doesn't mean that you're not bullying someone. And somebody goes, well, yeah, but we don't do it to like people. We just do it to voice actors. And I was like, and they go. It's not like you guys have like you actually get like hurt feelings. I go, let me just point to you this way. We're actors. We play with emotions for a living. So if anything, we have a lot more, and they're all on the surface. It's like, which one do you want to pick at first? If you poke me, I'll cry like a lot.
Only some of us will cry.
Yeah, some of you will attack.
Others will start throwing things.
It depends on which button you want to attack.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's a beautiful way to put it, Sharon.
Oh, well, thanks.
Very well put.
Oh, I want to pick with the great orange jacket, just because that jacket like makes you so easy to spot. Yes, you.
You with the safety jacket.
What's up, Greg Harris?
Hey.
The character from Devilman Wonderland?
Yeah, Devilman Wonderland.
So, this is my question. What was it like voicing as Gonza?
It was awesome. Monica and I, Monica Rial, who plays Shiro, is a really good friend of mine, and we like gory, creepy, crazy stuff. So, like, I mean, I'm wearing a zombie hat, for God's sakes. Like, that's what I do in my spare time, is I kill zombies. But just on TV, just on my PlayStation. So when they got the role, when Joel first talked to me about it, he's like, this role has got a lot of vulgarity in it. And I was like, yeah. Because it's weird. Like, I mean, yeah, there was one line that was a little weird to let my mom hear, but, because my mom's a Sunday school teacher. But I love that role because he started off as a wimp, and he ends up really super not a wimp. He ends up kind of finding his own legs underneath of him, and I don't remember the screams being that horrible, but when I watch the show, it hurts my throat to listen to certain episodes. I'm like, oh. And I got to do my favorite sound, which is the puking sound, because I apparently make that sound really well, and it was funny because somebody even wrote to me after that episode aired, and they're like, wow, I forget how really good you are at that awful sound. Yeah, well, I got to, and then the cool thing is the next year, Monica and I did, like, I didn't think a show could get bloodier than Dead Man Wonderland, and then the next summer, Monica and I did another for Sentai, which is way bloodier, and I got to be a puking kid in that show, even though I had the lead, but there was this one scene where my character was freaking out, but there was this other little kid just puking a river in the corner, and I looked at him, I was like, can I be that little puking kid too? Yeah, so like if you watch the scene, I won't say the murder in the classroom scene, listen for the puking kid. But yeah, I mean, I'm an actor, so the roles don't freak me out, and it was a fun show. Like, everybody in that show was so good, and it was on the launch at Toonami, so I mean, what's not to like about it?
That just reminds me, I'm currently working on something that I can't say the name of, but in all of our little reactions and stuff like that, one that's come up frequently in our scripts is open mouth blood barf. Blood barf is awesome.
Nice. I like how it's open mouth.
Yeah.
What's it closed?
Well, it'd be like
That's where you
you could have or like a clenched teeth sprayer.
That was like Psychopaths. You're like watching Psychopaths going like, oh, cool, guys. You are a very dark crowd. Like,
blood bar.
Psychopaths. I like the
open mouth blood bar.
Somebody just went throwing up react to picture, and then in the director's note it said, I'm sorry, I just couldn't. Like, because it was like a lot. That was like the writer just like quit.
Watch it and do it.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Like, that was my note, which I like.
That's awesome. Somebody else pick.
Front row right here.
For Jeremy, were you familiar with the plot of Coil Magic Madoka Magica? And if you weren't, were you surprised by the dark turn it took in the middle of it?
What?
To who?
To who?
Madoka Magica?
Yeah.
I did not work on that show.
But Christina did.
Christina.
Oh.
Christina did.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Get her out of here!
Get her out! I wish I could answer your question properly. I just don't know. How did you feel, Christina? How did I feel? I was excited.
I was memorizing names as you went around. I recognized
For what I don't remember, it was great.
You wrote me like 80 million times. I just didn't want to like answer your question wrong.
I heard Jeremy, so I was like, oh, there's a Jeremy up here?
That's what I thought. I thought you said Jeremy.
So, the show, Monica Magica, if you guys haven't seen it, it starts off, a really cute young girl, and there's like, the talking sidekick, and it looks adorable. And then episode 3, I'm just gonna tell you guys because you should watch it. Episode 3, one of the main characters, after she has her big like, yes, I'm finally free, I'm so happy I have friends now, her head gets chewed off.
It's the dark side of the magical girl genre.
Yeah,
it really is. It's an amazing series. My girlfriend got me to watch it, and the art style for that show is absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being part of it. And my character, Homura, is, she comes off and you think she thinks she might be evil, but it just turns out like everything whatever you think the show is about at the beginning, it completely changes. And then they did 3 movies, 2 were recaps, the third one. What they did, again, was they had this, you know, the ending was nice. What they did was they completely took away all that peace that you had about the show. And so you're just left feeling like, oh, God. And it's wonderful, and I loved every minute of it.
No, it's fine.
We're just gonna keep calling her Jeremy for the rest of the
Jeremy spoken.
It rhymes with Jeremy. Some people will just come up to me and they go, rhymes with Jeremy? Yeah, that's me.
I'm looking for a karami. Karami. Chirami? Is there a chirami here?
Shirami.
Shirami?
Let's get somebody like in the middle. Green, black and green shirt. I love how everybody's like, is that me? Yes! What am I wearing today?
I just recently graduated from an acting conservatory, and voice acting is something that I'm very interested in. And I was wondering if you had any advice for young actors who are looking to get into the business.
First off, congrats for going through school and graduating and for studying acting. Very awesome of you. Where do you live?
I live in New Jersey.
Cool.
Okay, cool. That's even better.
Yeah.
What's so do you want to do like a specific kind, like anime, video games, audiobooks, commercials?
Yeah. I'm not so much interested in commercials, but I would love to do anime, video games, Western animation, like whatever sort of like.
Get interested in commercials.
Absolutely.
If you're interested in paying your rent, get interested in commercials.
But anime you can luckily do in Texas, but you can also do it in LA. I recommend. I've never.
Do it in New York and New Jersey too.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Texas is much cheaper, so I think I should have done that first because you don't have to pay as much in rent.
It's cheap to live in Texas.
Yeah, it's
that's
much
for
cheaper to
sure.
live in Texas than LA. But LA, that's where they do a lot of original animation. I think also Canada too, and it's kind of scattered all over. But definitely make sure you like research which city you want to live in because you don't want to be in the wrong city to be like, I'm going to do video games in like North Carolina.
Yeah.
There might be some, but I don't know.
There's sure a lot of movies.
Yeah.
That's true.
I've moved to Nebraska. Let's make some video
Let's
games.
make magic.
North Dakota.
Yeah, I want to say real quick, like Mike said, congratulations, because there's so many people that we talk to, they're like, I want to be a voice actor. Oh, I don't want to act. I want to be a voice actor.
Yep.
And the operative word really is actor. Everybody has a voice.
Yep.
But you have to learn to act, and that's what they're looking for. Like they said, you need to live where the work is, depending on what kind of work you want to do. But like he said, commercial work will pay your bills. Commercial and industrial work will pay your bills. And the nice thing is, there is commercial and industrial work everywhere.
Yeah.
There are public service announcements, there are radio spots, there are bumpers, there are all kinds of stuff. Most of that has gotten through an agent.
Yeah.
But look into getting yourself a professionally done demo. Don't have your friend that has GarageBand to say, oh, I'll do your demo for you. It really is your calling card, especially for commercial work.
Yeah.
And you only get one chance to make an impression.
True.
You know,
If you want to hear good demos, there's a website you can listen to everybody. Steve Bloom, Mary Elizabeth, everybody. It's called voicebank.net.
Yes.
And go check them out. It's really fun to listen to Steve Bloom's like commercial reel because it's like a taste of Budweiser. You know, it's like it's all that stuff. So.
Oh, thank heaven, 7-Eleven.
Yeah. So voicebank.net. Yeah.
But yeah, be a fan of working.
Yes.
Is the main thing.
That's what I was gonna say is when people say like, well, I only want to do this. I started acting when I was 5. And the coolest thing about my job is that my mom would always say if somebody gives you an opportunity, you always need to try it. So I worked at Radio Disney. I'm still working at Radio Disney. I've written for Radio Disney. Whenever anybody gave me an opportunity, I said yes. And I worked with that person, which led to another job, which led to me getting film work. I did an industrial for Pure One, where I met Laura Bailey, and she called up 2 people while I was on the set and was like, you need to work with this girl, you need to get her in next week. She didn't know that I had already started working at Funimation, but she goes, they're gonna be so excited. It's just she called Zach, she was like, you need to get her in tomorrow. He goes, I have her coming in tomorrow, she's in my show. And Laura was like, I was so excited, Zach, and you just took it away. But that's the thing, it's an industrial. Like, most people go like, this isn't gonna go anywhere, it's a training video for Pier 1, but it led to me, like, potentially getting work in anime, which led to me getting video game work, which led to me, and the worst problem that you can have is saying, okay, I have too many auditions that are conflicting on so many different things because I have my hand in too many things. That's the kind of problem that you want to have, but you won't have that if you're saying, I only want to do this, I only want to do this.
I only want to be the villain in daytime soap operas, and that's it.
I mean, that was what I wanted. I ultimately just wanted to be on Barney. That didn't happen. That's okay.
One more thing I do want to add on this is, and Greg and I have talked about this on panels before, there are a lot of people, who here is interested at some point in your life in becoming a voice actor? Okay, here's the thing. There are a lot of unscrupulous people out there, some of whom are in our industry, that are going to want to sell your dreams cheap and use you as an ATM machine. They're going to sell you their book or their pamphlet or what on how to be a friggin' genius voice actor, and it's your back door in. Did I say that out loud? And it's your back door into the industry. It's your secret path in. There isn't.
No.
There is nothing but hard work and study and dedication to your craft. And anybody that is going to try to, oh, here's your back door in, I will sell you my online Skype voice acting classes. Please be leery. And it's like Greg says, you sign up with an acting teacher because they're a good and reputable acting teacher. Not because they played Ninja number 7 in your favorite anime.
But they love teaching. They love the craft of acting.
Exactly. And so please don't let anyone sell your dream short.
And never pay for an audition, ever. Never pay for an audition. There's a difference between a workshop where you'll get up and you get, and a workshop is usually 10 to 6, if it's not 2 days, where you will work all day. You don't just go in and they say prepare a monologue, you walk in, you read the monologue, they say thank you very much. You don't pay for that, that's an audition. You never pay an agent that says, I'm gonna get you auditions. An agent will say, I wanna represent you, I will get you work. If you get the job, then you give me a percentage for the work that I went in to get you a job. Headshots are not millions of dollars either.
And I totally agree, but there also, don't be afraid if you feel like you're ready to invest in quality products, to market yourself, like demos, I think were already mentioned.
Demos.
And when you say don't pay for auditions, I totally agree, never for like a flat audition, but there are, to cut your teeth, there are certain services online that you can join a membership to that are legitimate sites where you can put your auditions out there. You can Google those and look them up. Those are valid, but never walk into a room and be like, here's $20 so I can read for you. That's never legit.
I do want to say something positive about voice workshops though, because I don't want anybody to confuse what we're talking about with like a voice workshop. Several people that we work with who we respect do voice workshops. Bob Bergen does them, Crispin Freeman does them, Richard Horvitz does them. And those are fantastic workshops if you want to get one person's take on acting. You take Richard Horvitz's workshop because you want to see how Richard Horvitz approaches acting, not because you think you'll get to meet Jonan Vasquez and you'll be in some new Invader Zim thing. You do that because Richard Horvitz is a badass actor and you want to know how he approaches the job. So there are people that do awesome workshops and actors take classes until we die, I think. But
that's the big one.
But I don't want anybody to confuse what we're talking about with that, because there's some people that do some really, I want to take Richard's class. Like I would love to watch Richard teach just because he's funny. But
on top of that note too, classes with actors who are training you in the art of acting is wonderful. Also consider taking classes with researched and trained and well-experienced directors, because not only can they give you proper feedback, but they know the trends of what's casting, what's going to cast, which will help you be that much more competitive going forward. So look for that as well.
Education is great, just make sure you're getting it from a legitimate source.
That's right.
I take acting lessons, or I take a workshop weekly, and I also help teach a workshop weekly. I'm never going to be done learning. No one is ever the master of this. So.
I feel like as soon as somebody goes, I've made it, I don't really take classes anymore, that's the quickest way to not get work anymore. You will, because you're not growing. So once you've stopped growing, you're not going to get any more roles. That's kind of it.
200 roles and growing.
This is your singing panel.
Front? Yes. Right there?
Okay.
I believe she's talking to me. Because I do the voice of Russia in Italian.
Oh my God, it's Russia!
My favorite scene was talking about stupid American faces. And how I would like to crush them into dust. Oh, it gave me pleasure smile that you would ask me such question. I hope that answered your question, and if not, it's okay, we will all die someday.
Don't make Russia angry!
Autograph signing? I have one of those later. You can come by and I will put my name on paper for you.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. I don't want to not be scared. I am scared.
Yeah. The guy in the white hat that's got the great smile. Yeah.
So I have a touchy question. I don't know if it's really touchy, but does it involve touching?
I can't hear you.
I feel like as voice actors in general, you guys don't get enough credit for what you do.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
compared to actors, because you see their faces, and it's not fair to you guys.
You mean on camera actors?
On camera actors.
There you go.
There you go. You know, you see your faces, and we can hear it, and we can recognize you, but the people out there don't give you guys enough credit.
It means we can shop. We can go in public and get ice cream, and no one bothers us. It's great.
Yes. Well, I don't know about anyone else. I don't do it for credit. I do it because I love it, and I love acting, and I love being part of the arts, and I hope that I get to do that forever. So I don't care about that.
Yeah, here's something that I've said a lot of times, and I'm loud, I don't really mean this, but
I'm loud.
but here's the thing. I am 5'4", 125 ball of scruff, okay, in real life. I'm a really hard sell for stage and film and television. I am very, very limited in the kind of work that I can do, especially being my size.
Now granted, I've got a voice down here.
Which puts me playing about 9 to 12 foot tall killer robots and things like that. I've been afforded the opportunity as an actor to do roles that I would never in a million years get the opportunity to do on stage or film or television. And that, as an actor, is probably one of the most liberating things about it. And it's very funny because you go to some of the conventions and most conventions are wonderful, but every now and again, I mean, all of us here have dealt with stalker situations and stuff like that. And if you can imagine how horrifying and awful that is, imagine if you were somebody like Tom Hanks or somebody like that that's putting up with that every day. I wouldn't in a million years want it. I'm in the job that is absolutely perfect for what I want to do. So that's my take on it.
We appreciate you giving us
Yeah,
credit. Thank you. That's really sweet. Absolutely.
Although I will say it is a special feeling going, walking in Walmart. Somebody's like, oh my gosh, Christina V, Mom, take a picture.
Yeah, that's because it makes it special rather than like, oh my God, this again.
Yeah. But it can be a problem. Greg just recently had an incident with an insurance.
Oh, this is awful. Hang on. It's so awful, but it's so funny. I was calling to get my primary care physician switched on my insurance, which is like the most mundane, like just I've got to do this, and and I was standing there, and the guy's like, oh well, could I speak to Greg Ayers? I'm like, oh, I have a funny voice, and they're like, oh, sir, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And it was more awkward that he kept apologizing. I was like, no, it's fine, it's what I do for a living. And he goes, Greg Ayers. I was at MTAC in 2005, and I was like, oh, shit. And he's like, you're on the new Dragon Ball Z, aren't you? I was like, hey, could you switch my doctor to... Because I was waiting for this to happen so I could go see my doctor. And I had a reason I was going to. I got cornered on like an hour-long phone conversation. I was like, and I couldn't be a jerk because I really needed my doctor switched. So I was like, I will sign whatever. Can you just please switch my primary care to Dr. Eunisa Jamaluddin? Thank you. Like, well, the creepier thing is, like, it's my insurance, so there's my phone number and my mailing address. Like, I was just like,
Don't worry, we have all your contact information.
But he was, I mean, I haven't gotten a snake in the mail or anything, so I'm good so far.
I think there's this one time, just kind of staying on the same subject, I was at McDonald's and I ordered through the drive-thru, and as soon as I got up to pay, he was like, "Hey, do you voice Riven?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Cool."
Somebody pick.
Hat on the hand. I don't have my glasses on. I just see a hat on a hand.
I think it's Kirito on a hand.
No.
No? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the face. I need to put my glasses on. Rise.
Oh no, not him. Not him, sorry.
Thank you, sir.
This is a question for everybody. What exactly are your opinions on like the differences between recording Western animation and anime and video games? It's like the differences for just recording in those fields.
I'll just jump in here first. They're all great and different in their own way. Anime and dubbing is a very technical process. It's a great challenge as a performer to both still be in the moment and deliver, a performance that you feel is honest, having to fit it into this tiny little box. It's about 3 inches tall and 2 inches wide, but only about an inch deep. And there we go. And so it's very trying to fit that into a very tiny specific place. So it's a multi-layered technical process, but it's really fun. In Western animation, a lot of times prelay is done as a group record, so you actually get to interact with the other actors, and you get to play off each other's energy, and it's more like a radio play performance, and so that can be really freeing as an actor. And video games is kind of in between the two, where you're alone in the booth. You have a little more freedom, because it's not usually constrained by length of time, unless it's like a Japanese import game, but you're also having to run down 400 lines in a row, half of them are screaming, "Grenade!" and stuff like that, so... those are my takes and the variations. They're all fun for different reasons, and they're all different in their own ways, but they're...
I need you to give me a series of 10 yelling grenades and falling on the grenade and having your body blown up, but I need it 10 different ways because the player will get tired of the same sounds, and each of those ways to be 25 seconds long. Go ahead. I won't stop you, just give me a series. I'll just be here in 10 minutes when you're done. Oh, we have blood barf.
As much as I love anime, dubbing's hard. I can't keep rhythm. I'm really bad at like dancing and stuff, so they're like beep, beep, and I always jump the beep, and I'm like, meh. But like video games I love because you're not constrained as much, so you can kind of just like play. But also it's really weird, but my favorite thing to do is noises where I'm getting beaten up. Like I love effort noises. Like when they get to the part, it's like, okay, you're getting eaten by a bear. I'm like, yes.
Is this like a late night panel kind of answer?
I don't know. No, maybe it could. Maybe that is like a weird psychological thing. I just love it when they're like, yeah, now you're getting punched in the face. I'm like, and screaming. I guess it's because it's noises you can't make in your apartment, or else people will call the cops. Oh no, I do audition in my apartment. I had to tell my landlord, like when I moved in, I'm like, if I'm ever screaming bloody murder, don't call the cops. I'm just auditioning. So if I actually ever was getting murdered, I'd be in trouble.
She told me not to call.
I'm okay. Just don't make any noise for the next 20 minutes. I'm okay. Close the closet door, and I'm gonna sound like I'm dying.
I have to say, on a slight tangent, animation for commercials is actually a lot of fun because half the time the client doesn't know what they actually want to create in the first place. They'll have like a general sketch, but you get this freedom to really just kind of go wherever you want with character, and it's it's usually a little bit less developed than what I've seen for, say, American animation and film, and definitely for dubbing. But I know it's a lot of fun because some of the best characters I've had were ones where, I saw the copy and gave them what they wanted during the audition, but then I gave them what I thought they actually needed, and and I thought that was what was going to land it for me. They gave me an opportunity to actually have a third take because I said, hey, what if I try something a little different, and came up with something absolutely, completely off the wall stuff that like my wife would listen to and go, really, what's wrong with you? And that's what they actually cast me for. And and it was just being able to have that opportunity to stretch out of my normal comfort zone.
I think a big thing too people don't realize is in Western animation, most of the time you're gonna have a partner or another cast to be with. So and you're almost always by yourself in video game or dubbing because of the technical aspect of it. And I really enjoy both of them, but I think there's just something fun about working with another person, especially when you're doing comedy, and I come from a theater background like our friend back there, so having a partner really helps, but also that kind of theater training and acting training, like doing a monologue, when you're in there, you have to imagine your partner, and thankfully, but also something neat of doing these two projects that are dubbing projects, but something that I didn't know is there's new technology now where when it comes to video games, you don't necessarily have to match the flaps anymore. So the last two big RPGs that I did, they played the guide track. We get to hear the Japanese, which is always helpful for tone and reference. They're like, no, just match it for time. As long as you're within 0.1 seconds, you're gonna fit, and then they'll reanimate the lips to what you're doing, which is something that, as far as I know, wasn't around a couple years ago.
It's a reason.
It's relatively new.
A couple years ago, I did a video game in LA, and they had a camera on our face the entire time we were recording. The funny thing was, the English dub was finished before they finished recording the Japanese, so the entire game got animated to the English.
Cool.
So when you watch it in Japanese, they're off sync.
And that never happens though. That's always been up.
That's what I love about when I do Western animation. I did one where I had a twin, and when they let us do off-the-wall stuff in ad-lib, if it's just me and she records it another time, we're not going to get some of that fun, unscripted banter that they end up keeping, and so it creates a lot funnier stuff that everybody loves to quote from movies and things like that, because we're both in the room and we can play off each other, but we don't get that for dubbing next time.
Which, I don't know for that too, just to kind of reference the earlier question about acting and getting in the industry, improvisation classes.
Yes, absolutely.
So helpful. Improvisation helps in so many aspects of life, just socially, being able to think quick on your feet and adapt to situations, but from a performance standpoint, and for voiceover as well, improvisation is universally helpful, so highly recommend it.
I will say real quick, adding to that, there's a book that I just finished reading on the flight up here. I recommend it to any improviser and all actors. It's a book by Jimmy Carrane called Improv Therapy. It is about all of the insecurities and things that go on in your head, not just as an improviser, but as an actor. And some of the things he has no solution for. He says, this is something I'm still trying to work through. If anyone comes up with a solution for it, let me know. But I think it's incredibly valuable to see that the same kind of insecurities as a performer that we all go through, everybody else goes through. Everybody experiences them differently. So, Improv Therapy by Jimmy Carrane, great book.
I always tell people to work on dubbing as well when they're, because what I love about dubbing is you have to be able to match the flaps, but you have to come up with a million different ways to say one phrase. The pausing might have to be different. So as an actor, when I started working on that, people were saying that my on-camera work was getting better because I was not in a box. I would do a read which I think is one of the best compliments you can get in an audition, where the director would say, no one has ever read it that way. And I'm calling you back and taking you to producers specifically because I want the producer to see we can play this scene this way. But I wouldn't know how to do that unless I had done dubbing, where I would say, okay, I can still say this phrase, I still have to make it clear that I'm really frustrated, but the line is, I love you, and there's a pause right after the I, which is ridiculous, and the flaps are weird, and the love is really long, how will I do this? And it's a challenge, and it's really fun, but when your mind starts working out how many different ways can a person say this and still maintain the integrity, then when you're free in a video game or a scene, you can make the most interesting choices as an actor.
I've directed for stage for years, And I've always said, and I've directed on stage people like my brother, Monica Rial, Chris Patton, Allison Summerall, Carly Mosier, a bunch of people who are also in this industry. I will take working with somebody who is voice actor trained any day of the week, because on stage they make much more interesting, more dangerous choices as performers. The people that do not have this experience, and I asked Greg one time why that was, and Greg said,
I remember.
Yeah.
Because when I first started working as a voice actor, I was an IT guy at a law firm. Which, I got yelled at all day by a bunch of old white guys. But, that's what that job should be called. Yeah. My PowerPoint's broke. When you have to wake up and be in a studio at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing they pull up on the screen in front of you is you're fighting a 75-foot spider, and they go, all right, and scream.
Commit.
And you just can't, if you're in front of a 75-foot spider, you don't go, ah, so 9 in the morning, you're like, ah, just scream your head off, and dude, it's therapy too, because then when you go back and a lawyer screams at you, you're like, it feels good, doesn't it? But yeah, get it out, just get it out, you'll feel better. But you have to just commit to it immediately, and there's no rehearsal, and there's no warming up, you're just in the studio, and somebody says, go, and you just do. It's
and that allows you.
By the way, we love your dog. Your dog is keeping us entertained. That is the cutest dog in the world.
Everybody else is listening to us like this, and the dog is like, I could care less.
We're like, oh, it's nap time. It's scratchy time.
Yeah, dog acting. That's great. Oh, we were talking about you.
Hey, you should come up here, Buggies.
Yeah.
There's far too much cute going on right now.
How about in the back with the short black wig? Back with the short black wig. Yes, you, saying me and pointing at your head. Yes, you. Oh, wait, short black wig.
Black wig.
I can attest to that.
I just got the meanest email from a teacher. I'm sure all of you have gotten this email from a student that's doing a project, and they have to pick somebody that does what they want to do for a living, and you have to answer these questions, and that's one of the questions, is what kind of degree is required. And I gave what I considered to be a very earnest answer, and I was like, and I only do 1 in 5 of those, because you get so many of them, and you just have to, when you have time, do one. And so I was doing it, and I said, well, no, there's absolutely no required degree of any type, but, because you can't say, yeah, just quit school and party. No, I said, but acting is not a profession for lazy people, and many actors continue to take classes and workshops and read on their skills well into their, accomplished professional careers. And I got the nastiest letter back from a teacher about how dare you tell someone they did not need a degree. And then she started using 3rd grade words at me. I mean, the dirty kind. So, yeah, because she knew these words, but she used these words. A poopy head. She did call me a poopy head. Only the adult version of that. And, but it's true, and I told her as such. I said, there's some things in this world you don't have to have a degree to. I encourage you to get your degree, because those of us that are out of school will attest that was the fun part.
Yeah.
That was the fun part.
Be intelligent to be a teacher.
No.
Oh, man, why couldn't Jerry answer that message for me?
I feel like, personally for me, it's not necessary, of course, to work, but for me, it was absolutely necessary to go to school for theater, because I knew I loved it. I knew I loved acting. I did not have the tools I needed. I did not know really how to act. So for me, that's why it's just, and I know people who are amazing actors who have never been to school. They are just great. But if that's why.
But I wasn't saying don't train. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
saying a BA is not required.
Yeah,
that's
it's not required.
The way I've always looked at it in any form of acting is a degree is not required, but education is absolutely essential.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And you've got to study, you've got to learn your craft, and most of the time you will do that through college, through places like that.
I tried to go to college and get my degree in acting because I'm one of those weird kids that loves school. I love school supplies, I love books, I love being in a classroom. So I tried to do on-camera work, voiceover while going to school, trying to get my degree. The problem was I was getting kicked out of classes for turning my homework in 2 weeks early, and the teacher said I would say, I'm going to shoot a film, can I have my assignments? I will get them to you a week early so I'm not behind. And it was too much work for the teacher to do everything ahead of time for me. So I had to drop out of school for being too responsible. Sorry. So I still intend to go to college and get a degree. I would love to study overseas. I would love to do all of that. But as an actor, when your career is going in one direction and that's what you want to do, you have to go with the momentum. Because if you say, you know what, I want to come back to this, I'm going to come. I still play a 16, 17-year-old girl. I'm 26. So I would like to ride that for as long as possible. Because if I were to say, you know what, I know there's a lot of roles right now, but I'm going to go to college. I'll come back later. If I come back when I'm like 30, they're like, yeah, you can't play 16 anymore. And all of that momentum was gone. So I'm still studying, I'm still doing work like that, but like they said, it doesn't matter where you get your education, where you take your classes, as long as they are helping you grow and you feel they're making you an actor of integrity, and you feel confident and you feel like when you go into an audition, you are bringing something positive to the casting director, to the producer. Don't try to do what they want you to do, which I feel is something we learn in school. What is the right way to do something? As an actor, there are no wrong choices. Somebody could say, actually, we kind of want you to try it this way. But as long as they see you're making choices and you feel confident and they feel good having you in the room, that's what's going to get you the job. Nobody wants to work with a desperate person that's like, please validate me, please, 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 please. Please, give me a job, I have to pay rent. It's not gonna work, I promise. I've been that person in an audition, won't get the job. So that's just my 2 cents.
Let me put it this way. I have degrees, I actually, both undergraduate, graduate, and even beyond. Engineering and information technology. IT, acting. Did I train as an actor? Yes, I still do. I still do classes about 3 to 5 days a week. But it's one of these things where if it's one of those things that kind of, this is what you want to do, go after it. It doesn't matter whether you have formal education or not. Go after it. Go to someone who knows what they're doing and learn from them.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No, please. I did the double. I went and got my BFA and my master's degree straight through, and didn't finish. I finished when I was 2 months after my 25th birthday. I felt like really good and accomplished about it, but it also gave me a 3-year late start when I moved into LA. So I moved out to LA as a 25-year-old feeling like a 22-year-old because I've been in school for 7 years. And I always made the joke, my master's degree in 25 cents buys me 10 minutes in the meter in LA, if that makes sense. But I never walked in the door and was like, you got your master's degree, kid? Get in here! We're gonna make you a star! You know? But to be fair, my specialty was in classical literature and Shakespeare. So when you tackle that sort of thing, you know, grenade becomes a little bit easier, you know, so well, you know, what they're saying is the training is fantastic, but it's the voyage is yours. If you drop out after your first year at theater school and you're still awesome at it, that is not a stamp that says you're gonna work. Also, if you spend 7 years in school and get your terminal master's degree, that's also not a stamp that says you're gonna work. So
yeah, it's definitely you're gonna be a better actor, you know, the more you train. But they don't give a crap, especially out here in New York. I think they seem to care a little more about like where you were educated in theater. But in LA, they're like, I don't care, are you like hot? And like for on camera at least, they're like, sorry. No, I'm saying on camera, they're always like, it's about the looks. Yeah, but one thing that I also want to add is just become, I hate this phrase, it's so like, hippy dippy, but it's true. become like a student of the world, because like
Yeah.
if you're an actor, you're going to be playing other people,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be playing everybody who's just an actor. So like I got my degree in theater, but I also got a well, I didn't finish the double degree because I got bored. But I did a double major in psychology because I just love understanding human beings and how the mind works. And so it was like, you know, and I ended up like dropping the psychology part senior year because I didn't feel like taking the statistics classes. But I got all the fun classes. But yeah, like, you know, educate yourself, and just in general, it's gonna help you. Like, it's gonna just enrich you so much more than if you just focus on acting. So, just want to add that.
I hate to say this, I've got to run because I'm double booked. I just wanted to say goodbye to everybody. And come to the rave tonight at midnight. That's all I'll say. I'll be playing at midnight.
Happy Valentine's Day.
One real quick thing. I don't think that's glib at all, and I don't think it's hippy dippy. Speaking as a director, I think you should know everything about everything you can, because if I know some actors that all they can talk about is acting, and that's all they have to bring to the table as an actor. They don't have any real life, real world, because everything is theater, and I like an actor that can bring more to the table than that. And his hand has been up forever, so I wanted to call on him.
Oh, I thought you meant the dog.
Well, first of all, I was going to mention, yeah, his hand's been up forever too. I would just like to ask a quick question for Sharon. About your role as Lucy in Fairy Tale, what would be some pros and cons, if there are any cons, that you view towards your role? Because, like, for example, Bria Valencia told me she had a dual view of her character.
Of being Juvia?
Yeah.
I'm
just curious.
Well, one thing that I love about Fairy Tale, for the job security standpoint, is there are a lot of episodes. One thing I also love about having a lot of episodes is that is a lot of time I get to spend with a character, because most of the time we do an anime that's 12 to 24 episodes, we get to know a character, we get to love a character, and then it's over. And then we hope and pray we get another season, but that's not always the case. So it's been a gift to have a character with so many episodes to get to go on a journey with her. There is nothing about that character that I don't like. I sometimes get frustrated when she'll do like things that I'll go, oh, come on, you know better than that. But I get frustrated when I do things like that. And I feel like that's just being a human being. I feel like I have a lot in common with her. And then there's some things I don't have in common. But one of the things that I find I love most about characters that I think she has in spades is that she is incredibly compassionate. She has so much integrity, and she will fight to the death for something she believes in, and that is something that I have latched onto, and I will have no problem standing behind any choices that she makes, because I know that in her frame of mind, it's always for the right reason, which I love about that show and that character. So.
Good.
What?
Mike.
What do you want to hear? What?
Rocket.
Ronka. You want to possibly talk about my daughter Harley? And how beautiful she is, and how Tamaki does not deserve her? As I put on a wig and a beautiful flowing dress. I'm every woman.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on people that create their own shows, they produce them, and then they do the voice work for it, regardless of whether they're professionally trained or not, which they get their things started on YouTube or Adult Swim?
They are people who are being creative, using their own talents to create something for other people to enjoy, whether they're what you call professional or not. Good on you. Yeah. Good on you for being a creator. Yep. Very quickly, a word about professionalism. I worked with, I toured for a number of years with an actor named Don Potter from LA. He was the original Snoopy in Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. And we were doing this show where a lot of kids had gotten their union card, their equity card. They're like, I'm a professional. Here Don's got 17 Broadway credits to his name and film and television work. He's putting on his makeup and he goes, oh, I'm an amateur. And that even stopped me. And I said, what do you mean, Don? He goes, well, by definition, a professional is someone who
does what they do because they're paid, and an amateur is someone who does what they do because they love it. So I hope that I never lose my amateur status.
And that really stuck with me. It stuck with me.
Yeah.
So now, if somebody's creating something, bravo, God bless you.
I mean, I had somebody, I went to a corporate meeting, and this man came in and he said all these people were trying to figure out how to make it in the industry, how to make it on the up and up, and this was a corporate meeting with a bunch of people that have are CEOs and CFOs, and they're trying to learn about what to do, and this guy says YouTube is everything, independent work is everything, because we live in an age now where you don't have to go to a studio, you don't have to go to a network to get something seen by people, because ultimately that is the goal. People want people to see their work. And I know a lot of YouTubers that have made quite a career and are wonderful people, very talented, and the reason that they are not being recognized as much by studio executives is the studios are terrified that the masses are watching a show and are empowering the people to make what they want, and they don't have to have a checks and balances of somebody giving ad money or somebody telling them what to make. So if you can write and produce your own stuff, more power to you. If you can do that and you can make money elsewhere. Do what you love to do, and then you never know if that's what you're supposed to be doing. The money will show up. It always shows up.
Absolutely.
Actually, I was just gonna quick note on that about the YouTube generation. I was actually I don't know if you guys saw his panel yesterday. Brian Price is one of the staffers here. He also does a panel about obscure animation and stuff. But we were talking about how back in the videotape days, if you had a friend of a friend, somehow CalArts tapes used to pop around, and I would get these nth generation copies of the animation workshops and whatnot. Now that stuff is on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the people that are on YouTube aren't necessarily because Chris Sanders, who did How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch and stuff, his student film is up there. We saw it when it was a tape floating around. It was a lot of the people who work at Pixar and stuff, they all started somewhere. And now, thankfully, there's an opportunity for the world to see that when they're just career starting, instead of having to wait for them to go through the whole studio system to finally be discovered. That said, if you're going to make something on YouTube, make sure you put your best foot forward, because there is a lot of crap out there.
Yeah.